Ken stood on the other side of the gym from me. My hands were wrapped tightly around a dodgeball. "Hey, Snowball," he shouted. "You're not gonna start crying again, are ya?" A few years ago, this guy had been my closest friend, but now there was no one I hated more. Ken, more than anyone else, taught me what it meant to be a teenager. "Hey, David, check out this band. They're called Green Day. Their CD is called Dookie. That means shit. Hey, David, check out this rapper. He's the real thing. He's in a gang and on trial for murder. His name's Snoop Doggy Dogg. Hey, David, what group are you going to be in next year?" "What do you mean group?" "A jock, a nerd, stuff like that." "Oh, like in Saved by the Bell. But they all hang out together." Saved by the Bell sucks. It has nothing to do with real life. I'm a skater, so I'm only going to hang out with other skaters." "Oh, what group do you think I'm in?" "Maybe a skater. Maybe a preppy." "I want to be a skater. What do I do?" "First, you got to lose that Kmart kicker you have. That's for posers. The worst thing you can be is a poser. You got to get a custom board and the right clothes. Stussy and No Fear shirts, bands, and airwalks." No Fear, for those of you too young to remember, was a popular brand of shirts in the 90s that had ridiculously competitive and vaguely nihilistic slogans on them. Things like, "Been there, wreck that," or "Life is a contact sport," or "At 200 miles per hour, you have no friends." They showed that you were really extreme, but not so extreme that you wouldn't participate in consumer capitalism. That would just be crazy. Mine said, "Glorious in victory, miserable in defeat." Soon after I acquired my accoutrement, Ken had a birthday party. Ken and I went to different schools, but he had vouched for me, told all of his friends I was cool. I arrived at the party in my No Fear shirt and an unbuttoned flannel. Yep, you remember. The first thing I noticed was that Ken and all his friends had that floppy, greasy 90s hair that was parted in the middle. I had a $5 buzz cut. Ken's shirt said, "I live with fear every day, but on the weekends, she lets me play golf. No fear." Everyone was sneers and anger. Ken made jokes about how his sister had locked herself in her room and was sitting on a Buddhist rug, still mourning the death of Kurt Cobain. I felt completely out of my depth. When another kid asked me if I shoplifted, I turned to Ken for guidance. He glared at me and said, "He steals tearjerkers from the Candy Express all the time." Everyone was so terrified of being called a poser that we all felt obligated to prove ourselves by being the biggest asshole in the room. At around 10:30, after his parents were asleep, Ken said, "Let's TP someone's house. Jeff lives down the street. He sucks." Silently, all the other guys went to the bathroom to get toilet paper, but I knew I had to do the right thing. I went straight to the refrigerator. "Let's egg his house and put bologna on their car. I heard that peels paint." "Yes," everyone whispered, slapping my back in approval of what a badass I was. Silently, we snuck out and hurled our rolls, threw our eggs, and dropped our lunch meat under cover of darkness. When you do something that's forbidden and you get away with it, you're supposed to feel this glorious rush, but I kept thinking about my balding father instead, grumbling as he dragged out a ladder to take down toilet paper from a tree after someone hit our house on Halloween. The next morning, we woke up to find a few inches of snow on the ground. Ken said, "Let's have a snowball fight right now." While we were outside, I glanced down the street and saw someone in a ladder struggling to get wet toilet paper off a branch. Pangs of remorse made my stomach hurt, and as I turned my attention back to the fight, one of Ken's snowballs packed with ice and dirt hit me square in the eye. I howled in pain and started to tear up to get the crud out. Someone shouted, "Stop, you guys! David is crying!" Last night, I had been the hero, and they still turned on me. As I trudged inside, I was miserable in defeat. The next year, Ken and I ended up at the same middle school. We had gym class together, but by then, we were no longer friends. I had learned that maturity means not hurting someone just because you have the opportunity. So there we were, on opposing sides in dodgeball. You know, maturity is a really funny thing. I threw the ball as hard as I could, pegging Ken in the nads. It turns out he was miserable in defeat too.